Welcome to the Glass Alibi.
Usually when we talk about a magic trick, there's this shared unspoken agreement between you and the performer.
Right, you both know it's a trick.
Exactly. You look at the brightly lit stage, you watch the right hand wave a wand around, and you completely ignore the left hand executing the actual sleight of hand in the shadows.
Because the stakes are entirely imaginary, you enjoy the misdirection.
Yeah. But picture the sheer audacity of taking that concept into the real world. Just imagine the ultimate sickening magic trick. Trying to convince the world that you are sitting perfectly still in one place, performing live for an audience.
When you have meticulously planned all along to be somewhere else entirely.
Right. Committing a horrific, irreversible crime.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Let's get into this one. Today's mission is taking us into the darkest corners of that exact digital deception.
It really flips the concept of an alibi on its head. Instead of just relying on one buddy to say you were at a diner, you weaponize an entire audience. You really do. And we are pulling from digital forensics reports, chat transcripts, official police timelines, and a documentary by Dark Rust detectives to unpack the 2022 murder case of Stephen McCullagh in Northern Ireland.
The mechanics of how this was orchestrated are incredibly complex. It blends digital manipulation with terrifying physical reality.
And to really wrap our heads around how this illusion worked, we can't just look at the raw timeline. We have to understand the human elements involved. This crime basically revolves around three core aspects.
Right, the three pillars of this case.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have the victim, Natalie McNally. You have the crime, which is an actual real-world murder.
Yeah.
And then you have the cover-up.
A meticulously orchestrated 6-hour virtual illusion.
Yeah. And let's start by talking about Natalie McNally, because grounding this deep dive in the human cost is absolutely essential. She was 32 years old, worked in marketing, and she was literally the rock of her family.
She really was. By every account, she had this incredibly upbeat, generous spirit. She was highly intelligent, a massive sports fan, and she just took immense pride in treating her parents and brothers to special events.
She was the engine behind all their celebrations. And, one of the most tragic aspects of this story is that Natalie was 15 weeks pregnant.
Yeah, she had just walked into her brother's living room and shared the news.
The family was jumping up and down, hugging her. She was expecting a baby boy, and she had already named him Dean. It's just a profound tragedy that she was murdered right as her life was about to be rewarded with this baby boy.
It's devastating. Huh? And the vulnerability of that specific stage of life is a crucial factor here.
Well, let me ask you about that, actually. Can you explain the psychology of someone in this stage of life? Because it seems like when life finally falls into place, people become incredibly open.
That's exactly it. When someone is stepping into the pure joy of impending motherhood, their internal security skyrockets. They drop their guard. They project their own happiness and optimism onto the world around them.
Right. You aren't scanning the horizon for threats because you're so focused on building that nest, which sadly, it makes the subsequent betrayal even more devastating to process.
Because she was the perfect target for the man who had just entered her life.
Stephen McCullagh. Let's look at him, because he was a wholly different person in real life than his carefully curated YouTube persona. He went by the online name VoteSaxon07.
Which is a pretty deep Doctor Who reference.
What?
He was also 32, right?
Yeah. He had been online for 10 years with this completely delightful, aggressively harmless public persona.
Very bubbly. He made review videos about nerd culture, Star Wars, Marvel, and he was fulfilling a lifelong dream of building battle bots.
Which totally messes with our cultural expectations of what a killer looks like. You expect a predator to look dangerous, but his goofy fanboy profile is basically an animal using bright, harmless colors as camouflage.
It's a highly effective disguise. Society equates nerdy and enthusiastic with safe.
Right, but contrast that with what police found on his search history from that exact same period. It's very dark stuff. He was researching the physiological differences between drowning versus burning alive.
And looking up comparisons between gunshot wounds versus being stabbed directly in the heart.
How can someone harbor such extreme conflicting realities within the same mind? Like, how does that work psychologically?
Well, it highlights how a public persona can mask a deeply calculated, violent intent. He wasn't just casually struggling with dark thoughts. He was actively researching the mechanics of lethal violence.
While using the YouTube persona as a shield.
Exactly. And eventually, he used that very platform to orchestrate the ultimate trap.
Which brings us to the actual misdirection.
Oh,
Let's
wow.
talk about orchestrating the digital illusion on December 18th, 2022.
This timeline is chilling.
It really is. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, he tweeted out an announcement for a very rare 6-hour Violent Night Grand Theft Auto live stream.
And for anyone listening who doesn't game, Grand Theft Auto is literally a game about committing digital crimes. The irony is sickening. But the fact that this stream was so rare should be the first clue.
Yeah, his first stream in 2 years. Then, at 5:57 p.m., he texts Natalie directly. He says, "Right, I'm away to stream the night away. Wish me luck."
And she actually sees this text.
She does. Having absolutely no idea what this was about to bring her way, she drops a like on his tweet at 5:59 p.m.
And then, at exactly 6 o'clock p.m., Steven's phone goes dark. It's completely powered off.
severing his connection to the physical tracking grid. And right at that moment, the stream begins. Steven's avatar looks into the camera and claims a software glitch prevents him from checking in on the live chat.
He tells his viewers to just talk amongst yourselves.
Which is just the manipulative brilliance of that specific excuse is staggering. By claiming a sudden technical error, he gives himself a verifiable public excuse to not interact with a single human being for 6 solid hours.
He essentially closes the loop. And with that loop closed, we get into the split reality timeline.
Yeah, let's talk at length about the split reality. Because for several hours, many of his active streamers would tell police that they swore they were watching his avatar play GTA in real time.
Everything on their screen seemed completely normal. He was reacting to the game, providing commentary, filling the dead air.
But in reality, in the real world, he was making his way across town to commit a horrific crime.
Right.
Between 7 o'clock and 7:10, a hooded figure boards a bus in Lisburn. High-def CCTV catches a man wearing yellow latex cleaning gloves underneath his winter gloves.
He literally takes off the winter gloves to fumble for bus fare, flashing the yellow latex underneath.
And then he just stares blankly ahead for the hour-and-a-half ride. But going back to the gloves, I mean, he thought he had this meticulously planned out. Did he actually believe his digital alibi gave him an invisibility cloak in the real world?
Well, this is where we see the psychological concept of cognitive tunneling in action. He was under extreme cognitive load.
Trying to maintain a massive digital lie while physically preparing for murder?
Exactly. Under that pressure, the brain hyper-focuses on the primary objective. It causes the person to make small mistakes that are entirely oblivious to them because they literally can't process peripheral details.
So his brain just filtered out the fact that he was flashing murder gloves to a high-definition camera.
Right. Cognitive tunneling made him completely blind to his physical surroundings.
And those oblivious mistakes in transit lead directly to the brutality of the next steps. At 8:52 p.m., he walks right through Natalie's unlocked front door.
This part is so disturbing. The synchronization of what happens next is the craziest aspect of this whole plan.
Yeah, because at exactly 9 o'clock, a pre-planned digital glitch flashes on his supposed live stream. The screen flashes the words, "Time to die."
And there was sadistic audio that played on the live stream right then, too. This was a planned Easter egg.
He had pre-recorded himself saying he's a, quote, sadistic bastard who needs to kill this B-word and take her down.
Meanwhile, across town in the real world, at exactly 9 o'clock p.m., a neighbor of Natalie's hears a woman scream.
It's like a twisted film director scoring his own snuff film in real time, intentionally planting sick Easter eggs into a broadcast for his own amusement.
It demonstrates a total detachment from human empathy. To him, this wasn't reality. It was a synchronized performance.
And then at 9:31 p.m., the killer exits the apartment. He's in a complete change of clothes packed in a duffel bag, and he takes a taxi back to Lisburn.
He arrives back home at midnight, which is only 7 minutes after his 6-hour broadcast was finished.
7 minutes. The physical crime was complete, but his psychological manipulation was just shifting.
Shifting from the digital world to the grieving family's living room.
Right, because the next morning, he tries to act completely natural as he discovers Natalie's body in a pool of blood. He calls the police, acting like the devastated boyfriend.
And initially, the facade of the live stream had everyone fooled, including the police. They look at him, but dozens of digital witnesses swear he was playing a game, so he's initially cleared.
Feeling untouchable, he then attends the wakes. He inserts himself into the family's grief, and here is where he commits a disgusting invasion of privacy.
This is truly beyond the pale.
He intentionally plants his phone there at the parents' house while recording to gather any information that might have been given about what the family may or may not know, or if they suspect him.
He leaves the phone hidden, steps out, and then comes back later acting like he forgot it.
I mean, can you unpack the emotional void required to mourn in the living room of the parents whose daughter you just murdered? It's the ultimate emotional Trojan horse.
It perfectly aligns with his public camouflage. He was always observing, always manipulating. He used their darkest hour of grief as an intelligence-gathering operation.
Unbelievable.
Huh.
But while he played the untouchable mastermind in the physical world, the digital realm he used to build his alibi was quietly waiting to betray him.
Because the police eventually started going over all of Stephen's digital world.
Yeah. In January of 2023, they did a massive digital sweep of Stephen's hardware, and that sweep revealed the truth.
The entire live stream was pre-recorded. He had filmed the whole thing between December 13th and 14th and simply played it the night of the murder.
And big finding number 2 is that they discovered Stephen deleted that massive MP4 file at 12:09 a.m. on December 19th.
Only minutes after he returned home. He was actively trying to destroy evidence.
It's like sweeping dirt under a glass floor. You hit delete, and you think the illusion is safe because you can't see the dirt from where you stand. But anyone who knows how to look from below sees exactly what you tried to hide.
Right, because he hadn't taken into account the metadata.
And for you listening, think of metadata as the digital DNA of a file.
Exactly. Metadata tracks the exact date and time a file was created. So even though he deleted the video, the forensic recovery of the metadata definitively proved the dates of the creation of the video.
The glass alibi was shattered, and on January 31st, 2023, Stephen was taken into custody.
With all the digital and physical evidence combined, he was officially charged with murder on February 2nd.
And the trial was scheduled to begin on May 6th. The broadcast technology he developed to build his alibi was the exact same thing that smashed it.
It's a profound piece of poetic justice. The trial ended up lasting 4 weeks, but the jury saw right through his lies.
Yeah, they deliberated for just 2 hours. He was found guilty and given a life sentence.
Which forces real-world consequences onto a man who thought he lived entirely above the rules.
Absolutely. And while he sits in a cell, we really have to acknowledge the incredible resilience of Natalie's family. I mean, they took this unimaginable grief and channeled it into fierce advocacy.
They've been organizing vigils and actively helping other women spot signs of abuse and hidden predators.
Taking back the narrative. Which brings us to our final takeaway. This case is just a stark, terrifying reminder of the vast chasm that can exist between a curated digital persona and a person's true violent nature.
The harmless nerd camouflage is very real.
It is. But it's also a testament to the absolute power of digital forensics. You cannot outsmart the metadata.
The digital footprint always outlasts the illusion.
Exactly. But I want to leave you with a chilling final thought to explore on your own. We just dissected a case where a guy used relatively basic software to spoof a live stream and nearly got away with it.
Yeah, standard broadcasting tools.
Right. So as our technology rapidly evolves, with the rise of AI, deepfakes, and fully automated streaming software, how will the justice system continue to keep pace?
When criminals can digitally duplicate themselves with perfect interactive accuracy.
Yeah, an AI avatar that actually responds to a live chat. The magician's misdirection is only going to get more sophisticated. So how do we ensure the truth still comes to light when the glass floor gets even thicker?
It's a terrifying question.
It really is. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll see you next time.